Should you be using Canva to create resources for your Teachers Pay Teacher store? This is a highly controversial topic, and I have spent several hours poring over the terms of use for Canva, so I can tell you exactly what you can and cannot do, so let's get into it. So first of all, if you don't know what Canva is, it's canva.com. It is an online graphic design tool. You can make any kind of graphic that you desire. If you have an Instagram account and you are following any type of business on there and they have graphics, I guarantee you it's probably made in Canva. The cool thing about Canva is you can get started for free, and they just have a lot of tools that make creating very easy and simple. So let's first talk about the 3 different types of Canva accounts that exist. When you sign up for Canva, there are 3 different options you can sign up for. There's the free Canva. You do need an email, like a sign-in for all 3 of these, but there is a free version. There is Canva Pro, which is a paid version. Then there is Canva for educators. Now, Canva Pro is $120 per year, which is very inexpensive. You can pay for the monthly payments, but I feel like paying for the year, you just save some money that way. And it's about on par with paying for PowerPoint. If you are going to be using PowerPoint for your resources, then I suggest the one that's $8.25 per month, which would equate to $99 per year. So it's about on par with that. So $120 per year for Pro. Then there is Canva for Educators, which is free if you have an education email. And that's basically like getting the Pro version of Canva for free. But wait, before you're like, oh, well, I'll just do that. You cannot use Canva for Educators to sell. I'm going to say it again. You cannot use Canva for Educators for commercial use, meaning you can't use it to create resources for TPT. You can't use it for your cover photos. You can't use it for your previews. You shouldn't be using it for your Instagram account if you have a business. So please be careful with that. It's only for classroom use. Okay, so Canva for Educators is out. So then your 2 options for commercial use are free and pro. You can use both options for commercial use. So you do not have to have the pro account in order to sell resources. But there are many things that you can do with pro that you cannot do with free. So let's talk about them. First of all, inside Canva, there are things called elements. And elements includes clip art, stock photos, different videos, little shapes, all kinds of things, elements that could go in your resource. There are quite a few free elements, but there are a lot more pro elements. And you can tell the difference when you log into Canva and you search under the Elements tab. If something like a piece of clip art has a little crown, that means it's pro only. So you can only use that if you are a pro Canva user. So you could definitely start with a free account. There are also free and paid fonts. So there are quite a few free fonts. However, I will say that the more you start using Canva, you're going to start recognizing, oh, I see this font all the time because it's free. So if you want your resource to stand out, I highly suggest either purchasing fonts from somewhere. You can upload fonts into Canva or into PowerPoint, or getting the pro version. Now, I will say you cannot upload custom fonts into the free version of Canva. So if you have fonts that you have purchased like on Teachers Pay Teachers, you can't upload those into the free version. You have to have the pro version for that. But again, get started with the free if you want, and then upgrade to the pro when you see it's necessary. Okay, let's talk about the clip art. Same thing. There are free pieces of clip art in pro. If you have clip art that you've purchased from TPT, you can upload that into Canva for free and paid versions. So you can upload your own clip art in the free version and the pro version. You can only upload fonts, your own fonts that you have purchased outside of Canva, to the pro version. Why that's different, I don't know, but it just is. Now let's talk about using the clip art and the stock photos in the right way. First of all, if you have the free version, you can only use free things. I've already said that. If you're using the pro version, then what I have found, now I will say, the terms of use for Canva are just a little confusing, and I think that's why teacher sellers have struggled. Another reason why teacher sellers have struggled is because there have been numerous cases, and I've seen this in TPT Facebook groups, where a TPTer will reach out to Canva and ask a question, Another TPTer will reach out to Canva and ask the same exact question, and they get different responses back depending on who answered, which is frustrating and confusing. But I have been emailing back and forth with Canva over and over and over to make sure that I get this right, make sure I'm talking to multiple people. Again, always do your own research, and Canva terms can change at any time. So I am recording this in March of 2025. So things may change, but as of right now, this is my understanding from the terms of use and from emailing. There's this rule about having a stock photo or a clip art where it can't be bigger than 480,000 pixels, which means it can't be bigger than like 600 by 800 pixels. Now, you may be thinking, I don't know what that means. There is a pixel, you can do a pixel converter to see like how many inches that is, because in Canva, when you're resizing things, it resizes it at inches. But just to tell you, 600 pixels is about 8 inches. Let's see what 800 is. It's about 11 inches. So 8 by 11, that basically means that you don't want to have a piece of clip art that expands over the whole page. But here's what's interesting, and what I didn't feel like was clear in the terms of use. When I reached out to Canva and asked about this, I gave them examples and I said, is this okay? Is this okay? So I had a piece of dinosaur clip art that I expanded out to bigger than 480,000 pixels. Then I added other pieces of clip art to the page. So it was a big dinosaur. So then I added like some grass clip art underneath. I added a little dinosaur egg, and I added like my coloring page. They said because there were other things, other elements on the page, that the 480,000 pixel rule did not apply anymore, which I thought was interesting and I didn't feel like was clear in the terms of use. So my understanding is that basically just don't have a piece of clip art by itself on a page and you're safe. Because basically you could resell that. You could say, oh, I made this clip art, and kind of sell it as your own. So if you're using their images, just make sure you have other things with the images. Okay? Okay, so that is fonts. That is clip art. Now let's talk about templates. So Canva has tons of really cool templates that you can use. They have tons of teacher resource templates. My advice, don't use those templates. Canva says that you need to completely change the template in order to be able to sell it. So change everything, fonts, colors, images. Well, that is easier if you're making like an ebook or a lead magnet, okay? And they do have really cool options for that. And you can change it and then make it yours, put your own content in it to sell it. But when you look at, like if you go to Canva and search for elementary maze in the template section, it'll pull up a maze. There's not a lot you can do to change that to really make it your own, okay? So my advice, just to be extra safe, is not to use their templates, to use your own. Now, if you're in the Resource Academy, my program that helps you start and grow a TPT store, then we have Canva templates for you that we created that you can use for commercial use. You can purchase templates that are to be used in Canva for commercial use, but I wouldn't use the templates that are already in Canva for commercial use. Hopefully that is clear. So I wouldn't start with the templates, I would start from scratch. Now let's talk about, can you sell a Canva template on TPT? So when you are making a resource and you go to share it, you can download it as a PDF, or you can share a template link. You can create a link that's a template. And what that allows buyers to do is when they click on that link, it will open up a page that says, this template was created by Lindsay Bowden for you to use. Do you want to start editing it? And you click yes, and then they basically get their own copy to edit. And then they can add things, delete things as they see fit. So this would be for potentially creating like an editable resource. However, there are things that make me a little worried about that. I couldn't figure out a way to like lock something. So if you give people access to that link, they can edit everything. I didn't see a way where you could like make certain elements editable and certain elements not, like you could with PowerPoint. You can make editable PowerPoints. I teach that in my program. So if you are giving people this link, they can edit everything. So there may be a situation where you would want to do that if you're selling editable resources, or even if you're selling like, maybe you're helping teacher business owners grow their social media and you're selling like social media templates or something. Then you can create that template link and share that on TPT. Now, TPT in their terms of use, it says that you shouldn't sell a product that has a link where someone has to create an account outside of TPT to view it. So then to me, that would mean that Canva templates are out, right? Well, I emailed TPT's support team and I asked them actually 3 different ways. Like, I know your terms of use say this. Is Canva possible because it's a free account? They don't have to pay. By the way, pause, let me say this. If you are going to make an editable Canva template and you're selling that template, only use free elements. Don't use pro elements because then the person that purchases it has to have pro to use it. Only use free, and then someone can have a free account and then edit it and use it for themselves. So I said, if I make a Canva template and I'm following all of Canva's terms of use and I only use free elements, and then when someone buys my resource, they need a free Canva account to access it. Is that okay? And they said yes. Now, again, I'm just sharing my knowledge of what they told me. I didn't think that was possible, but according to TPT's support team, they said that was okay. If you want to reach out and ask them yourselves, that's probably a good idea, just to be extra safe. I don't plan to sell Canva templates on TPT. I don't really have a reason for that, so I'm not going to be actually using that. I'm just telling you what I have found out. So what I would do in that case then is, you may want to reach out and ask TPT, but I would make like a PDF document. You can make that in Canva as well, like an 8.5 by 11 document, and say, like, here's the title, here's how you use this, here's what you can and cannot do with this template, and then click here for the template link, and then link to the template that Canva gives you. And then I would save that as a PDF. Make sure all the links are clickable when you download that PDF. Sometimes Canva can be a little finicky with that. And then you can upload that PDF into Teachers Pay Teachers as a paid product. Now, one stipulation that TPT did tell me is when you do that, you need to specify in the description that, hey, if you buy this, you have to create a free Canva account in order to use it. So just to be very clear about, it's a Canva template and you have to have a free Canva account to use it. Okay, now a couple of other things. When you are saving your resource from Canva, you can export it as a PDF. So save as a PDF. I would use PDF print so that it's really high quality. And there's also a little check mark for flattening it. So that allows you to flatten your product, which basically makes the page, the different elements on the page, like one image. And it just makes it a little more clear. When I click the flatten button, it made the resource a little more clear. Now, it might make your resource file bigger. So if it's like, a 100-page document, just be careful with that. But that is something that you can do. Now, Canva doesn't have a way to secure the resource, meaning like password protect it. So if you are bringing in clip art from sellers that require you to secure it, I would just reach out and say, hey, how would you like me to do this? I am flattening it so people can't edit or lift the clip art from the page. Is that okay? Or do you want me to password protect it? And then you could use something like Adobe, or there's other websites that password protect it. And then finally, do you have to credit Canva in your credits page? No, there is nothing in the terms of use that say you have to give Canva credit for your resource. So you don't have to say that you made it in Canva, just like you wouldn't have to say that you made it in PowerPoint. It's just the tool that you use to create it, but you're putting your own content knowledge in there. So, man, that was a lot, but I hope that was really helpful. I hope you are more comfortable now with using Canva. I love Canva. I don't use it to create resources because I will say it's terrible for math graphics. Like, if you're a math person or science, don't use Canva to create like graphs or geometric figures. It's just no bueno. But you can use Canva, and I hope you're more comfortable with using Canva. I love Canva especially for using my cover photos and my previews and thumbnails, because with the Pro version, another reason why I love the Pro is you can have what's called a brand kit, and you can upload your brand palette colors, you can upload your brand font, your logo, anything else to do with your brand, and then anytime you create, your brand is over to the left and you can just click and use your colors right there. So it makes it really easy to make all of your covers look on brand, all of your thumbnails, all of your previews, so that your brand is recognizable. All right, so go out and use Canva. You feel hopefully really confident that you can use Canva for TPT now, and I will see you guys next week.